Thank you for joining me on another episode of Cooking with the Blind Guy. My name is David. I'm 100% blind 100% of the time. Now, today's recipe is going to be steak and fried cabbage. And I'm going to do all this in an electric skillet. So you're going to need an electric skillet. You can also do this on the stovetop, but for purposes of my video, this is easy. Because I don't have a camera crew to pan to the stove and back. You're also going to need one head of cabbage, which, let me grab my head of cabbage. One thing I forgot to put while setting up. Alright, so you're going to need a head of cabbage, half a pack of bacon. You're going to need some kind of dish to put your steak in to marinate. You're going to need, I'm using a New York strip steak, but you can use whatever cut of steak you want. You're going to need some minced garlic, some Montreal steak seasoning, some Worcestershire sauce, or as some people call it, wash your sister sauce. And then you're going to need some soy sauce. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and plug in your electric skillet and put it at around 250 to 300 and let that heat up real nice. Then we're going to go ahead and put our gloves on. It's like a game of Where's Waldo, finding the thumb to make sure I put them on right. All right. Because this, especially when you're blind, easiest way to protect yourself from working with meats, chickens, seafood, all of that. I just always like to wear gloves. Plus, it makes cleaning your hands a little bit easier after the fact. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is take our half a pack of bacon, and you're going to want to not dice it, but you're going to want to cut it in strip pieces. So each little piece comes off about yay big. All right, let's go ahead and cut the rest of this. And like I said, for the seasoning, I always use Montreal steak seasoning because it's my favorite for any kind of beef dish. Now, once you get it cut, you're going to go ahead and separate those little pieces and throw them in your electric skillet and let those start to cook. So we're going to sit there and get all that done. All right. All right. Now again, I got this skillet from Lighthouse Vision Loss Center in Sarasota, Florida, which they do an awesome job getting certain appliances for the blind community here in Florida and holding classes to teach blind folks how to get back in the kitchen and feel more comfortable in cooking. And that's what inspired me to start this cooking video or cooking channel, is because I wanted to take a lot of what seems like convoluted or involved recipes and making them very simple. So even blind people, sighted people, anybody could make really fancy dishes without having to deal with all the stress of a lot of the cookbooks out there, which I'm hoping sometime this year to turn all the recipes from this cooking channel into an actual cookbook. So I will keep y'all updated on the progress of that pipe dream. All right, we've got all our bacon in there. Now we're gonna chop up our cabbage. Now the first thing you're gonna wanna do is remove just the first outside layer, which is usually about just 2 leaves. All right? See, it's fighting me today. There we go. All right. Once you do that, you're going to want to rinse it real good. Just to wash off anything that it collected at Walmart or any other store you buy it from. Okay. Then you're going to want to sit there and find the nub. And you're going to want to take your knife and cut about 1 inch up from the nub. Alright. And you're just going to throw that nub in the trash. Alright. That'll give you a flat side to set your head of cabbage on your cutting board. Then you're going to want to cut it completely in half. Okay. And remember, when you're working with real knives, always when you set it down, point the edged blade away from you. That's just a good rule of thumb and a safety precaution. Okay, then you're going to take half of it with the cut nubbin stump end to your left and the rest to your right, and you're going to cut the cabbage into ribbons, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch ribbons. So, you know, just for starters, you know, just ribbon it, okay? And we're going to cut all the way through that half. And you're going to go ahead and take each ribbon section and go ahead and add it to your electric skillet. Now, I like to peel mine because when you get to the hard core of it, the really tough center, I usually throw those pieces out. All right? So, but see how it comes off like a nice ribbon section? And you're just going to separate that and add it to your skillet. All right. And then see the little bit of core I'm going to throw out. All right. Alrighty. And here we go, just a little bit more of that half left. All right. See, that's a big core piece. All right, now we're gonna take our second half and do the same thing. Make sure your cut stump end is on your left and start with the top of it and just cut that into nice ribbons. All right, and then you're going to do the same thing. Just sit there and peel those ribbons off. Throw any hard core pieces away and add to your skillet. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank all my subscribers. It makes me feel really good anytime I post a video and get some new subscribers out of it. And I hope you guys are sharing my videos. Not just if you have a blind family member or friend, but even just for anybody on the internet. Because these dishes are real easy and the ingredients are really cheap. So even if you're struggling on a budget and want to eat some nice meals, that's what I try to do with my channel, is I really try hard to make easy meals that even blind people can make, but also on a budget. because I know a lot of the blind community and the sighted community are on a budget these days. Times are tough, and I know that. All right, just one last deal. All right. Now, once you've got all your cabbage in the skillet with your bacon cooking, go ahead and take a spoon or a spatula, I prefer the spatula, and go ahead and mix that all up together. And then you're going to take a little bit of Worcestershire sauce and go ahead and add that. Just kind of give it a good little spin around the skillet. And then you're going to take your Montreal steak seasoning and give that a good few shakes. Okay? Now, once you've done that, you're going to put the lid on your electric skillet just to let it steam up and reduce a little bit. And if you need to, turn the heat up on your electric skillet just to really get the heat going. Okay. Now, we're going to prep our New York strip steak. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pat it with a paper towel. Get all those surface liquids off of it so you've got your cut of meat, okay? Now what I like to do personally is I like to do a crisscross, very shallow cut in the meat. So we're just going to do a few shallow cuts one way, and then I'm going to turn it, and a few shallow cuts the opposite direction. Then you're going to flip it over and do the same thing. And I like to do this because it allows the seasonings or marinade or whatever you choose to season your steak with time to really get in the meat, which gives it a nice robust flavor. Alright, now once you've made those cuts, what we're going to do is we're going to take the minced garlic and just take a little bit of minced garlic on one side, okay? And you just want to rub that into your steak, all right? Just rub it into all those little cuts you just made. All right, and then you're going to take, again, the Montreal steak seasoning and put a little on there and rub that into the meat. Okay, once you've done that, flip it over, and we're gonna do the same thing. Take a little bit of minced garlic, and we're gonna rub that into the meat, and then a little bit of our Montreal steak seasoning. Rub that on in there. All right. Then you're going to take it and put it in whatever container you have to let it marinate a little bit. All right, so we're just going to stick that in there. And I'm going to take my gloves off if they let me. There we go. All right. Now, before we go further with the steak, I'm hoping y'all can hear that nice sizzle going on. So, I'm going to let it get a little mix on and recover it. Okay? Now that we're done with our cutting board and our knife, if you're blind, it's a good rule of thumb, cutting board in the sink, but always put your knives to the right of the sink, not in there, because the last thing you want is to run dishwater and accidentally cut yourself on a knife in soapy water. So we're going to put the knife on the side, cutting board in the sink, and come back to our steak. Now, we're going to put some Worcestershire on our steak and some soy sauce. right. Then we're going to go ahead and put the lid on it and give it a good side-to-side shake. All right. Now, we're going to let that sit. You can put it in the fridge, depending on how long it takes your cabbage to reduce and cook up. Now, as far as cabbage, I like mine Cajun style, blackened to perfection. So, here in a little bit, I will remove the lid, which will allow the cabbage to really start to reduce. And it'll reduce and reduce with that bacon and seasoning until it's nice and a little charred black. I know a lot of you out there like more steamed cabbage, which it works the same way. Cook the cabbage to your preferred color. And now it's going to take a while, and I'm not going to make you guys sit here while I let my cabbage reduce, because I'm sure you guys have better things to do. So, but what I will tell you is, once you get the cabbage to your preferred state, what you're going to do in your electric skillet is you're going to sit there and push all the cabbage to the sides and make a hole in the middle, okay? And once you do that, you're going to sit there and take your steak and throw that steak down in the middle of your skillet surrounded by the cabbage. You're going to cook it 5 minutes each side for a nice medium rare. If you like your steaks well or more rare, then adjust the time accordingly till it's what you prefer. But I'm talking about how I like my steak, which means 5 minutes each side, and it's nice and crispy around the top and bottom, but still nice and juicy in the middle. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. Hope you join me next time, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more of my videos. Y'all take care.